Man, we are so back. Ooh, I've been itching for the NFL season, baby. We are back, baby.
Yes, sir. We are back, and it is your boys, Maul and Chris, with Sandbox Sports Podcast. Back like we never left. Let's get it.
Let's get it, man. And if you haven't already heard and haven't already been tapped in, we just wrapped up our first annual Sandbox Sports Fantasy Draft. It was live, it was a ton of fun. And if you haven't already, tap in with us on Twitch.
Yes, sir, man. The draft was indeed fun. Shout out to all the other GMs who decided to join the league this year for the very first Sandbox Bid Bread Winners Fantasy Football League. And it was fun, Chris. Like you said, I think it was really cool to have a draft, an in-person draft this year with everybody, and it's gonna be a dope year, man.
It's for sure going to be a dope year. Hey, Mo, I need you to tell me, though, man. Of course, we all gonna leave this draft feeling like we got the number one squad, feeling like we are going to the moon and back. Tell me though, what stands out the most in your squad that's gonna make you the number one team this year?
Honestly, I think, man, it's the receiver depth, man. I was actually able to capitalize on a lot of receivers that was left on the draft board late. I started out this year with the 10th pick with the 10 player league, and I was definitely nervous. It was a wrap draft, but I was definitely nervous. Ended up getting Brees Hall with the 10th pick. Needless to say, that's just to start it off. Then I got Jonathan Taylor, but I was able to get some receivers late, man. I was able to get guys like T. Higgins late. I was able to get guys like um, uh, you know, uh, who I think is going to have a great year with Caleb Williams, the tight end, Knapp. I was able to get him pretty late. So, I'm excited, man. We'll see what happens.
So here's my thing. I got a question for you before I dive into it. I like about my squad. What do you make of the Jamar Chase situation? Because T. Higgins has a lot of value if Jamar Chase doesn't sign that contract. But I don't know what's happening, bro.
Yo, I'm jumping ahead of myself here, and I commend Jamar Chase for what he's doing because a lot of guys, a lot of NFL peers seem to be crediting those guys who are deciding to chase the bag and get what's well deserved. So shout out to Jamar Chase, man, and I'm kind of hoping he continues this whole sit out here because of me drafting T Higgins. I think T Higgins is actually gonna have a stellar first few games if Jamar Chase sits out. Shout out to him, man. Go get your bag, Jamar. That's what everybody's commending, and he is, in my opinion, actually a top 5 receiver in the league. So. Guys are getting the money. You've seen Brandon Ayuk. We've seen CeeDee Lamb just get some money. So give Jamar his money, man.
So here's my thing. I'm all for go getting your bag, especially because these NFL teams have been getting the bag on these players for years and years. My only issue is I got one more draft coming up, bro. I got another draft this week, and I'm picking at the 7th pick. I would love to sit there and take Jamar, but I'm not doing it if you're not signing a contract, bro. So please, the Brown family, please get this thing done. Get Jamar Chase back in the building. He's your best player. He's your best player. You got Burrow, you got him, and you're right on the cusp of competing for something great. Stop playing with that man's money.
True, man. That division is a toss up this year, man. Every year it's a toss up. With the Ravens doing well, the Browns are arguably one of the best teams on paper in the league, and then you got the Cincinnati Bengals who just got out of a Super Bowl contention a few years back, and then the Steelers, they're always in the hunt. So pay that man.
Pay that man real quick. Who's winning that division now that we talk about it? I say the Bengals pretty easily too.
That's gonna be a tough one. I think it's gonna be a toss up between Cleveland and Baltimore. But if
Cleveland?
I give the notch to anybody, I'm gonna say the Cleveland Browns, man. They've been stacking their team. They're paying guys. Guys are staying. They have arguably, like I said, the best defense in the league, outside of maybe my Jets. But they're stacked. You got Amari Cooper. You have Elijah Moore, who you traded for last year, who actually did really, really well for them. And then you go ahead and you get Jerry Judy. It's going to be hard to stop that team. And then you got David Njoku, who's a dog at tight end. You know what I'm saying? The one Achilles heel right now is Nick Chubb because of his injury. But hey, he's on IR until week 4, man. He might come surprise some people.
Who's playing quarterback?
Come on, man. Mr. Young Arkells himself. You know what I'm saying? shout out to Deshaun Watson, man. You know, shout out to him. He's gonna play quarterback. He was actually out for what was it, a year, and then he was suspended for a few games. So he took like a year and a half off. He kind of fell out of the loop a little bit. I think he ended up getting hurt by the end of last year too, because Joe Flacco ended up playing.
Yeah.
But given some time, training camp with these guys, this is probably the best team he's ever been on, and he got paid a lot of money, man. So I think Deshaun Watson is going to be their starting quarterback. It can't be Jameis. It
Nah.
can't be him.
So here's my thinking. My question of who their starting quarterback is because Deshaun has been basura. He has been buns and thighs. He's been cheeks, but their defense is solid. They have a great running game. They have a great wide receiver one. They have a great tight end one. So who knows? I mean, I think it's the Bengals, but more than anything, I'm going to tell you all about the commissioner's team. So I was lucky enough. Shout out to AB. Check out our page on YouTube where you're going to find this vid to see what AB did. He picked our draft order. He gave me number 3. And I started off the draft with Mr. Bijan Robinson. Bijan has a great O-line, has a really bad schedule, and he finally has a quarterback and an offensive coordinator that knows how to call plays. Shouts out to them. But not only was I able to get Bijan, I got Puka, I got Mike Evans, I got DK Metcalf, I got Dalton Kincaid. Hey, man, we got pass catchers on this side of town. And I had to rock that Patriots lineup by bringing my boy Ramondre Stevenson in. I know what y'all think. The Pats stunk. They stunk. But it's a new regime. It's a new day. And by week 5, we're going to see Drake May. I'm just throwing it out there for you. I'm not spitting. I'm just throwing it out there for y'all that the commissioner's team is going to the moon, man. To the moon.
I don't know about Puka. But, solid squad, I guess. You went ahead and stacked on receivers, and so did I. So I guess it's going to be the competition of receivers this year. And it's big bread, big money on the line, right? So
Big.
I'd have to say, kudos to you on getting Bijan because he's finally playing with a competent quarterback. But I'm slightly confused about the whole thoughts on Puka being who he was last year with Cooper Kupp coming back, but we'll see, Commish. We'll see.
So here's my thinking, too. And we're going to get into this because just like we promised, we're going to give you all the fantasy advice and betting advice. When you look at a Matt Stafford offense, if he finds his guy, forget about it. That is his guy for life. I'm not saying that Cooper Kupp ain't going to be a big part of this offense, but Big Pooks was a big part of the offense last year. Big Pooks. Pookachu. Shout out my boy. Pookachu. So look, just like we promised, man, we're going to tell y'all 3 fantasy players that are going to break out this week. Mo, you want to start it off?
Yeah, man. I'm gonna start it off with the tight end who we've heard a lot about. We just haven't seen what we've heard a lot about yet. But he has a competent quarterback, as we've gestured before. Kyle Pitts, man. Big shout out to Kyle Pitts. I think he's going to do well with Kirk Cousins under the helm. Everybody on that offense, I think, is going to do well with Kirk Cousins under the helm. So, big shout out to Kyle Pitts. I'm going to start with Kyle Pitts. My second is going to be a New York Jets receiver. Yes, big shout out to the New York Jets. I have Garrett Wilson. Turning the page, I know the San Fran defense has had a lot to say on Twitter to our young guy, Sauce Gardner. And, Garrett Wilson normally is quiet, but I think he's going to ball out against San Fran. It's going to be, an eye-opener for a lot of NFL spectators that the New York Jets are here. And finally, I'm going to go with defense here, man. And it's going to shock everybody, but I'm going to go with defense. I hope if you had the Baltimore Ravens defense, you are watching the screen this season and, just this first game in general. They playing against the Chiefs, and I think that defense got something to say after losing in the playoffs against the Chiefs.
Sheesh.
Exactly, man. They spicing it up on the secondary. Nate Wiggins has been balling. Kyle Hamilton is already one of the best safeties in the league this year. And he's only, I think he's in his third or fourth year. I can't recall Kamish, but Roquan Smith. Y'all know what's going on, man. Shout out to Baltimore defense. If you got the Baltimore Ravens defense, keep your eyes on the TV because I think they're going to have a lot to say against that Chiefs offense. I got Baltimore winning, man.
Hey, listen, I tell you what, that's a fascinating one. I don't typically go into the bets and, hoping that a team going against Mahomes is going to stand out. So shouts out to you, Big Scan, and Big Ball. Man, you taking a leap of faith, but going with that same idea. I got a defense that's going to break out this week. Let me tell y'all about this defense that's going to break out this week. Not only is this a top 5 defense, but they're also going against a team that is notorious for looking funky on week 1, whether that's injury, whether that's this or that, or whether it's contract disputes with your best player. You know how I'm rocking. The Pats defense is coming crazy this week, man. That boy Joe Burrow threw 5 picks against the Steelers a year ago, or 2 years ago, pardon me. They always start off week 1 looking funky, and they got contract issues. They got cats that don't know where they want to play there. They got cats that don't want to sign franchise tags, bro. Look, this Pats defense is coming correct. And I'm going to give y'all another extra lock. Because we're going to talk betting, but now you got me excited. The Pats are going to beat the Bengals on week 1. And right now, that is plus 350 odds, guys. You put $10 down, you win $35. So you want to win some money, lock in with us at the Sandbox Sports Podcast. But lock in because the Pats are going to beat the Bengals on week 1. I love me some Joe Burrow, but it ain't happening week 1, player. Let's go. Second fantasy breakout player. Last year, I don't think it's far-fetched to say we saw one of the best tight end drafts in a while. One of the best tight end drafts in a while. That's Michael Mayer. That's Dalton Kincaid. And I think that gentleman is going to snap this year, especially week 1. The Cardinals particularly have a very weak defense in terms of covering the middle of the field with their linebackers. And Dalton Kincaid, they lost Stephon Diggs. They lost Gabe Davis. They vacated about, 300 targets last year? Somebody got to catch those balls. And Dalton Kincaid started to turn up towards the end of last year. Watch as Dalton Kincaid takes off going into this first game against the Cardinals. And last but not least, I ain't a biased cat, but that man Bijan, we starting off this year crazy, bro. I like the Steelers. The Steelers have a pretty good defense. But Bijan is a different type of cat, bro. Like, if you watch prime early Saquon Barkley and you put Bijan next to him, he's just a more slim and slender and faster version of Barkley. Watch as Bijan takes off this week. What you think about that list?
It was a decent list, man. I do like Bijan on the Atlanta offense this year. I think there's a lot of guys, like you said, tight end heavy. McBride, as you said, he was my favorite tight end coming out of Colorado State. But yeah, man, the list was good. The list was very, very good. And the defense of the Patriots, that's been a defensive sound team since we've known them. So shout out to the Patriots defense. Whatevs.
That's right, man. You know how it get down. You see them twice a year, and you know that this defense comes crazy. Regardless what the offense is going to look like. I like Jacoby. It's going to be a little questionable until Drake May's out there, to be honest with you. But that defense, that's why we wore the Pep jersey, man. I got a Drake May jersey. We wore the Jabril. You picked the Pep. We picked the... That's the best
Jabril
safety in the
Peppers,
league.
man. Jersey guy, man. I like Jabril Peppers. That's my guy, man. Shout out to Jabril.
Big jersey. Tell me, Maul. What is one lock that people can lock in to win some money this week? Tell me.
This is where it gets down to the nitty gritty, man, because we talking about bread in y'all pockets, and that's what Sandbox is all about, right?
Yes, sir.
So, week 1, shout out to the Bills, man. We just spoke about the Bills and the Cardinals. Week 1, we got Bills at a plus 4.5. And I don't know about that one. I got the Cardinals covering, man. Kyler Murray's coming back. He got something to say. You know, big shout out to Marvin Harrison, and you know that Cardinals offense, because I think they're gonna have something to say. James Conner is always a top running back in the league, in my opinion. He's a very quiet guy, you know, but when it boils down to when it comes to fantasy, James Conner is always top 10, top 15. So big shout out to them, man. That's what I got, man. I got the Bills winning, but I got the Cardinals covering. I got the Bills maybe winning by a field goal or so.
I respect that because look, what y'all need to realize is Josh Allen is otherworldly. I'll give him that. But you lost all of your top receivers. That defense got depleted. How are they going to cover this lead? And I like Josh Allen, but he can't do it all. He can't do it all. And Kyler Murray is always underrated in this league. It's crazy. It's crazy. But I got a lock for y'all here coming up.
What we talking about, Chris? What we talking about? Big money? What we talking about? Big money?
See this one. I'm gonna get back to y'all on the Pats ones later on. I'm gonna save my Pats ones. I'm gonna be reasonable because we try to make sure y'all get some money this year.
Because this is not a Patriot show either.
It's not a Patriot show. But here's what the real show is. Starting right now, the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Atlanta Falcons. The line of the over and under of total points is at 42.5. I like the Atlanta Falcons offensive players, but they're unproven. I can't even say I like what the Steelers got because their quarterback is Boo and T. So, if you were looking to make guaranteed money for week 1, I would smack the under in that game. 42.5 is a lot of points for one offense that's unproven and another offense that didn't even know who they wanted to play at quarterback till a couple days ago. Listen, I can see that game being a 17-14 kind of game as both offenses are looking to get on their feet. Kirk is great, but Kirk is old. I wouldn't even say Kirk is great. Kirk is solid, but Kirk is old. And Russell Wilson, I don't know who he's doing out there. We don't know. Nobody knows what he's doing out there, to be honest with you. No, lock in that under 42.5 so you can win you some money.
I like it. Because I do think Kirk is on the tail end, but I do think he has an offense that's really actually going to gravitate around him because there's some young guys that want to win, and I trust in Russell Wilson as much as I trust in Mike Tomlin. Y'all know how I feel about Mike Tomlin, man. I am not big on Mike Tomlin. I am not big on Russell Wilson. I got Atlanta winning, but hey, man, like you said, the points is where we on a slippery slope because coattail Mike and Russell Wilson, he don't even know. It's too cold out there for him. He don't do good in the cold weather. Look what happened to him in Denver, man. Toss the Steelers this year, man. I just didn't even mention them in the AFC North conversation because they ain't in it.
Man, before we go, tell me what you got against Mike Tomlin, man. We're just trying to figure this thing out. Come on.
Man, I'm just not big on Mike. I'm just not big on Mike. He inherited a solid team. Shout out to Mike. He inherited a solid team from Bill Cowher. That team has always been predicated on defense. But he's a good talker. He's a politician. He's a and that's Killer Mike. Anything else, he inherited a great defense. And just based on pedigree, cats want to go there. Let's talk about how many cats he inherited from free agent. Who wants to go to Pittsburgh? Let's talk about big name guys who just signed to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Let's talk about that. It ain't none. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Mike, but take a hike, Mike.
You heard it first. Mike, take a hike. But we appreciate y'all for tapping back in, man. We try to make y'all some money. We try to bring y'all some good energy and good vibes this year. But more than anything, we're giving y'all the locks here on Sandbox.
Yeah, man. Big shout out to you guys, again, for tapping in with us another year. Big shout out to, as Chris said, AB, everybody who took part in that Big Money Makers draft. And shout out to y'all, man. Our spectators, the ones who love us, who continue to tap in. We love y'all. And we back, baby. We back.
Boom!